And we're back on track. Hello, everyone, and welcome to OSL Academy Division 2 Season 1. Continuing on from yesterday, this will be the fourth round of the group stage. It is Hell of Flame versus Lumora. Both teams going 2-0 in their respective groups, but somebody will be losing tonight. Now, what set determines our winner? How about some Spirit on Dead Dog Saloon? Sounds good to us, and we hope it sounds good to you too. I do believe this is the first time you'll be seeing this combination in OSL, needless to say. I know I am definitely excited for these sets. How about you, Sir Smonkey? Why don't you tell the audience how you're feeling on this Friday night?
I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest, Hunter. I'm keen to see a Spirit set on DDS because, as you said, something we haven't really seen in OSL before. We've seen it a couple times in some other leagues, but I'm keen to see how it works tonight in Division 2 for Spirit. It was one of the maps available during the map vote for Div 1, which concluded earlier this week. It didn't win, but it was available and it got a few votes, so I'm keen to see how it sort of plays out in Div 2. I'm not too sure if we've seen a Spirit set yet. I haven't kept up much with Div 2. I just know it's been 80% Blight. So I don't think we've seen a Spirit set yet. And unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, so apologies for that. But these things happen, you know. Not everything goes our way. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what sort of perks we see, because I know Jarms has cooked up a couple of things. You know, some interesting maps and changes and such. And I'm just keen to see how it goes, to be honest. Who's the favorite team here, do you think, Hunter?
In all honesty, it's an even matchup. I really can't depict a winner, in all honesty. I'm just going to have to wait and see how this pans out. If I had to put my money on something, I think I would just sneak in Hell of Flame. They are just the demons. They were, well, some of the players were in Division 1 last season. It was their first season in OSL, and you know, the young guns are really showing up. But Lumora is just, I don't know, they're primed. It's just, we saw a whole different team yesterday, you know. In all honesty, again, it is very hard for me to say, but if I had to choose someone, it would be Hell of Flame. Needless to say, I think that I really do want Lumora to still pull it back and give it their all and even take away the set, in all honesty. I don't really have a preference. That's just me voicing my opinion. But nevertheless, yes, Spirit on Dead Dog Saloon. Fairly large map considering what she's been on recently. You know, we've seen her on Suffocation Pit 1, we've seen her on Wrecker's Yard, and I don't recall the map she was on last season, which is very bad of me, but nevertheless, we'll be taking Spawn over the top side, running all the way down to the bottom side of the map here. We're going to be going to this backyard area, taking the first chase around the gallows. Not really too much of a good spot to be taking chase first up, in all honesty. You really want to be chasing main, but it does look like we've gone deep into our corrupt, which is plus side to us. Going to be pre-dropping this pallet here over this corner 8 tile and using our phase. This is just going to be an imminent quick down, unfortunately, for the survivors here. Very good start here for, I do believe it is Flare on the killer. So first killer game in OSL, I do believe. I'm excited to see what happens on their end. But yeah, we're going to be taking this pain res, and it took nice and early here, Spunk, and we're just going to be doing our rounds check on these generators.
Yeah, our pain res is somewhat working in our favor. We have a lot of them spread around this sort of gallows to back main side of the map. And this is sort of the area you want to keep, right? You want that Holy Grail gallows 3-gen, and you want to try and keep it. And it looks like we do have something like that working over there. So Spirit's probably just going to proxy around sort of the middle of the street here around the front of Shack. Just try and keep these gens under lock. And we also do have quite a lot of powerful perks on both sides already, just straight off the rip. We have a balanced landing on our survivors on DDS, which is very powerful at main building. But our Spirit player also has access to Painter's Pop and Eruption all at the same time, so a lot of extremely powerful slowdown. But we have the titular Muddy Sports Gap and the Rusted Fleet for the add-ons, which you see in every Spirit set, because it's usually forced. But with how quick that down was, I would not be surprised if our survivors here do just opt to crank out the motors and do a last-minute save. And I think we've just caught a whiff of someone going in for that last-second save. But this is our Adam, who does get it off. I thought he was interrupted, but no. And this is probably our, I don't know if he had Deli in this balancing or not, but regardless, we do get that down there. He is also our medkit player, and this is going to allow our ace to get out of this 3-gen and hopefully somewhere more pleasant. We do have 15 seconds of BT in play, so that's going to help us get all the way up over here by the water tower. We pre-drop that power, trying to play it super safe. We do miss our phase, so it's going to come back online in a couple seconds. This gives ace plenty of time to just pre-drop powers, play super safe, and die hopefully all the way up at 1. I believe we did just see a gen pop 1 as well, but if Spirit hits his face, this will be really nice, because we should be able to hook him in main. Very generous swing, unfortunately not making that swing onto that very strong window. So we're going to keep chase just a little bit, and we're trying to rotate towards main. I do understand what we're going for here, but unless we have a body block in play, this is probably a bad play, because we're going to die in main, and we do die in main. And this is going to allow us to sort of drag back down towards that Gallows 3 gen. If we instead opted to just die corner 1, I think this would have been a much better play there, Hunter.
And we've opted to hook in the middle of the map regardless, I do believe. Not really too sure what the game plan is there. It's going to be fairly hard to hold that 3-gen up on the backyard if, you know, you're hooking in the middle of the map here. But nevertheless, Flair anticipates somebody's going to be working these generators here. I don't think he's caught a glimpse of anyone just yet. We are going to be taking this eruption, and pop goes the Weasel proc onto the Gallows generator, returning back to hook. And maybe we have a little bit of vantage point across all generators on the map now. Maybe we're trying to put pressure on the entirety of the map, and I don't necessarily hate that play, but we are going to be taking chase back onto this carriage pallet here. Very strong pallet. We're going to be eating that very quickly on the side of Flair, and our Ada is going to be running all the way down to Shack to see if we can make some use out of it. We're going to be seeing another gen pop in the background. The FTP coming in, denying the tunnel out just a little bit longer. Some very nice plays from our Survivor team here. Going to be vaulting that window instantly on the side of our Ace. Decals is going to be rotating all the way down to the bottom side of main as well. I'm not too sure if they wrapped around the window or if we got lost in the sauce a little bit, but we're going to be following up the chase all the way back down to this backyard area here. I do believe he was, is this a balanced landing player or something? I'm not too, yeah, my bad. I can't really remember the balancing. That's pretty bad on me once more, but we are going to be following the chase all the way down to the water tower. So we balanced landed. Wait, we're in. Hang on a second. This is the deli player. It is a different person. I got lost in the sauce for that entirety time. So I've reset the tunnel out. My God. Okay, we still definitely want to be finding decals as soon as we get this hook onto our Adam here.
Yeah, we saw the Ace use balance landing Adam main and run towards that sort of 3-gen Gallows, and then we did a bit of a bait and switch where Adam ran up the side of the map there, leaving a bunch of scratch marks, and Spirit managed to find him, and this is going to let us get a basement hook and a pop and eruption, but unfortunately we do lose our tunnel, which is a huge shame, and we've got to try and put Ace somewhere nice and safe now to hide him away to prevent this tunnel for as long as possible, and we do see the Deli coming through there, and I'm quite surprised that Deli's allowed on Spirit. She was moved down to tier 2 where Deliverance isn't allowed, I believe. She wasn't really a tier 1 killer anymore. Due to like just how the game sort of evolved over time. So we haven't really seen Deli on Spirit, if I recall. I don't cast a lot of Spirit games. I don't really play Spirit or watch Spirit, so maybe I'm just completely misremembering, but I'm pretty sure we don't often see Deli on Spirit. We do unfortunately get that tag. Maybe, was that not Deli? Was that maybe second win, perhaps? Because that was an injury, not endurance or anything. He was healed. And we're going to be continuing the chase onto Adam, maybe trying to get a pain raise off of this hook because we don't have it. A slot vault not working out in his favor, and he does go down. And I need to read up on the bouncing here because I haven't done that. I've just been trying to be pleasantly surprised by what I've been watching and seeing. And we do get the pain raise here, which will fall into effect on main, and we see Ace working it up there. Because I also know that the survivors have access to Vigil, because I saw the little icon at the very start of the game. Someone had Vigil, which is a very potent perk in the current meta, 66% exhaustion reduction, or any negative status effect reduction, really. So if the Spirit opted to use something like Sloppy, it wouldn't have done anything. And I believe he probably just walked away and maybe balance landing towards elsewhere. We've also, I'm pretty sure, broken that Gallows 3-gen, unless I just can't see that right. We do break the Gallows 3-gen with the Gallows gen itself being done. We're down to 1 gen left, and it's honestly looking pretty grim for our Spirit player here, Hunter.
Definitely after losing the tunnel out and losing that backyard 3-gen over around that 7 to 9 area and Gallows. That's just mighty unfortunate, but we do catch sight out on the tunnel out, going for the unhook. I thought this guy would have just been sitting in the background doing generators, playing extremely aggressive right now. But we failed the save here at the moment, so I'm not too sure what the survivor's going to do. Probably recollect a little bit and try to regroup, recollect their thoughts, and go for this pull. Maybe just going to let him die, in all honesty, and work that 7 generator all the way back down into the corner of the map, ditching this main one here that seemed to have a little bit of progress attached to it for the longest time now. Really, Flair taking control over at that top side of the map. Didn't allow them to finish it. We have caught Ada out in a very bad position in the middle of the map here. This is probably going to be a quick tag and consecutive tag onto another first one, and then just a down. Maybe no. We are going all the way back, and we're scared of the generator going to be popped in our face over at 7. And this will be some outs here, Smok. This is absolutely crazy. We do see Painkiller here using the sprint burst to make all the way back down into the pallet. No pre-drop, playing extra greedy. We have dropped it at the right time, trying to get that stun, but not quite coming in, unfortunately. We have slow vaulted the pallet. No, fast vaulted the pallet. The notification coming in a little bit late, but we're trying to try and haul ass over to that quarter 11 gate here. Gonna be not making this pallet. Trying to blind our Spirit in the process, but the timing just a little bit off. Maybe some lag coming into play there. going to be utilizing this window here. Not really much to go on, unfortunately. We've lost sight on the Survivor 2, and they've just jiggied away, and they're gonna make it out. That's absolutely crazy. We couldn't hear them, we couldn't see them, and they are just gone. I think that was like a 5-stage game in the end there, Smong.
Yes, it was a 5-stage, 2 fresh. It should have been a bit more with at least a 3rd fresh hook, 3-6. At minimum, but unfortunately just getting a bit of lost in the sauce at the end there. Zarina going wide unexpectedly, and maybe her outfit enabling her a little bit to sneak to that edge map and just walk out the door for free. What a grim ending for our Spirit play after a pretty impressive start. But we saw a fantastic recovery from the survivors there, and honestly, they did such a great recovery there, doing the bait and switch with Adam and Ace towards the backyard, the regen. Whether or not that was intentional, it worked out in their favor. We instead tried to switch the ton of that over to Adam. We couldn't find Ace. We found Ace eventually sneaking for a save for some reason, but we couldn't get that follow-up base because we hadn't broken the upstairs breakable door. So it forced us to give up and just proxy Adam to death and then try and interrupt those gens later. But Ada distracting in the middle of the road helped them pop that final gen rather than potentially seeing way more hooks, and just an unfortunate ending there, but very well played to all parties involved. And Hunter, I don't know if you want to just yap about that match or go into an intermission, because it is only a best of 1 tonight.
I do just want to yap just a little bit more, and then we probably will go into intermission just to make sure there's no technical difficulties as we were experiencing a little bit beforehand. Just if touching up on that end game there, if we were able to down Painkiller, and unfortunately we weren't, that would have turned the game into potentially more stages, which would have been 8 stages. It would have been more of a expected result on a map like this for Spirit. I would say 5 stages is a little bit on the lower end, but I mean, you're versing a team like Hell of Flame, who just have so much experience outside of the OSL community, but regardless, so does Lumora. Realistically, they've been in comp for a fair long time now, but yeah, it just really shows the difference between the two teams. Nevertheless, I think we're going to be taking a quick and short intermission. So yes, we'll be right back in about 2 to 3 minutes. And welcome back, everyone, to Lumora vs. Hell of Flame, where we had just seen Lumora's killer get a 5-stage game on Spirit on Dead Dog Saloon. Unfortunately, not being able to make that 8-stage tie condition, which would have been lovely to see from the side of our killer. Our survivors, you know, they definitely still have some work. Our killer, definitely still has some work here to do on the side of Hell of Flame, but on the side of Lumora, you have the survivor team of Logic, Flare, Ghosty, and Willandra, and these guys are not to be messed around with. We did see them play yesterday, and they played pretty damn well. So they have to pull a 4-stage win condition. What do you really do when you're chasing a win condition like that on the survivors? And you can't afford to be making any mistakes. You need to be taking chase onto safe locations in the map. You know, you have all of main to really work with, and you can really do some incredible things over at the main building against the Spirit. You have Shack, obviously. You do have that Courage pallet in hand. You do have Toilet pallet over at corner 11 as well. Realistically, you just need to be making sure your micromanagement is on point and that you are working generators at the same time that you just have a long chase at the beginning. So we really want a long chase at the beginning to kick things off for us. We do see Irish B, who is, you know, really made a return to the competitive scene. Had been playing in tournaments a long time ago. I think close to about 2-3 years ago, before, like, just when I had started, basically. So good to see them back. Going to be taking the first chase onto Logic. He's going to be pre-dropping that Shack pallet instantly, now utilizing the Carriage pallet. Going to be playing the short side. I'm not too sure I agree with this play, but we're going all the way down into corner 8 here. I'm not sure if we're in our corrupted zone. There's no generators here, so this is pretty good place to be taking chase, but unfortunately we're getting caught out. Going to be getting this early tag onto Logic here, who's going to have to run all the way down to 7. Irish be following up with some nice phase work here. Unfortunately, getting a little bit lost there, getting a little bit flustered and just swinging into thin F. Logic's going to fake that window. That is an ambitious fake. Getting caught out the window, but that allows us to make main. We don't have phase in hand. We do now, and we're just going to be going all the way back down 2-3 to patrol the generators here, giving up, going to play for some tags as to opposed to playing for the chase. Not necessarily the worst play in the world if we can get a nice and quick tag onto Ghosty. What's up? He is going to be taking chase all the way back around 1. And I just want to point out the build here, Smunk, quite different to what we've seen. We saw last match, it was a lot more traditional, plus a few extra regression from what we usually see in Division 1. We do have a somewhat of a snowball build here. We got Wretched Fate, Ruin, Devour Hope, and Pain Resonance. So 3 Hex perks is quite ambitious, I can't lie, but nevertheless, going back to more recent events here, going to be taking this nice swing through the pallet, down in Ghosty What's Up at a respectable time for our survivors to meet their win condition of 4 stages. Does seem we've lost communications with Smunk. I do hope that his GPU hasn't overheated. I was warned about this a little bit earlier, but I guess I'll just continue casting for this match. I can yap just a little bit, so, you know, it shouldn't be too much problem for me, but nevertheless, we are going to take this first hook onto Ghosty What's Up, and now chasing main here, going to be utilizing our phase. We do see our aid nice and healthy up here at the top of main. Main already done, so a pretty good spot to be taking chase, but we're going to be opting to leave this on the side of Irish B and probably camp out the second stage onto Ghosty What's Up, or even potentially catch somebody out who is going for the pull here. We're going to be checking over at this 8 side of the map here. That is a stack of Devour for our Sennheiser enthusiasts, if you do remember. If you know, you know. But nevertheless, we will be taking chase back onto our injured survivor if we can find them. We do see in the background our Renato Willandra just kind of playing safe around that water tower there, but we don't want them. We want the injured survivor. Going to be taking chase here over at 5, getting a nice and early tag that we definitely need on the side of our killer Irish B, who's going to be following up with some consecutive work. And if you do hear the pinhead in the match for some odd reason, that is Smunk making a return to us, but we're going to be following up this chase here, dropping that pallet over at the water tower, now making do over this short side. Trying to play some mind games and working out. Going to be downing Willandra there just in front of the windmill over at the water tower, and Smunk, you didn't really miss much in all honesty. We did lose our tunnel out though, so it's not very good news for our killer, but at the same time, it's still a long way to go for our survivors.
Sorry about that. My PC froze after Logic did a window fake. I guess it was so strong that my PC decided we're going to stop time right now, which is a little bit concerning, but that's okay. But it looks like we got 2 fresh hooks. I was going to make a comment earlier about the build. We do have Retro Fate ruined Devour and Painterers, so I don't know if we're trying to get Devour stacks or something, but we do barely miss out on a phase onto Nancy, who is, as you said, a potential tunnel out. We do have live available to us as well, but she's going all the way to main. We're abandoning our chase at main and rotating back to the hook for a potential tunnel out maybe onto Hanato, and that's exactly what we're looking to do, is get a tunnel out onto our Hanato here. But he's rotating down towards the 7-8 side of the map. Now keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that we do have 15 seconds of BT as well as 15% haste, so we're actually faster than the killer at the moment, but we're gonna go down right at the end of the endurance time. That's gotta hurt real bad if you're Hanato. That's not good. So this is going to be an express second stage here for Mr. Lyra, which is a shame to see. And then once this save does happen, it will mean 3 stacks to Devour, and our survivors aren't aware of it at the moment. So if someone does get the unhook from far away and tries to take a body block from Hanato, they're going to be in for a very nasty surprise with that 3rd stack of Devour coming into play. But we also have the haste from our Devour helping us a little bit there, but it looks like we have that 3rd stack in play. Now we're rotating back to the hook. We've seen FTP coming out onto Logic. Little do we know it's going to do sweet FA, because he's about to go down in one hit. Actually, I think he's going to still have that endurance, which will help him out a little bit, but whenever that endurance runs out, he's going to realize that that FTP was all for naught. And honestly, I've never seen bigger Devour value than what this Sona's about to get hit with. Goodbye, Mr. Lyra. That you hate to see it, don't you, Hunter?
No, you definitely do. Just kind of undoes their like the entirety of the work that they've been building up in the past minute or so. You really needed him to last a little bit longer coming off the hook the first time around, and it just wasn't able to happen. Sorry, going down at that pallet over at corner 8 was absolutely brutal, and then just following up with the Devour Hope down. Just not having a good game on the side of Arenado, unfortunately, and that is the tie condition met for our... sorry, this is the win condition at the moment, not the tie condition, rather. It is 5 stages of tie condition, so we can't really afford to be giving any more downs on the side of our survivors. Our killer looking in an extremely dominant position at the moment, doing a little bit of debating on the side of our Ada here, but Flare gonna be going down at that pallet, unfortunately. I don't know if they would have been looking for the totem during this time. I do hear somebody on a generator, as they have screamed via the proc of Painers. Unfortunately, we are going to be taking... Look, we are going to be looking, sorry, over here towards the 3 side of the map. It is going to be an injured survivor, so, you know, Devour not going to get too much value there, but nevertheless, going to be making that vault on this side of Ghosty. Going to be able to make that main building too also, but as soon as Ghosty goes down, this will just be basically HoF taking the set, as you do. And that's going to be a down at the window. He's going to play a little bit more greedy for the 4-man slug. He wants that 4K3. That's Retro Fate gone. So Devour Hope still in play. They would have thought they're so safe that they had found the totem. Unfortunately, breaking one of the other 2 totems in the game. So, you know, a 1 in 3 and you just get the wrong one. That's unlucky. But nevertheless, we are struggling to find this last survivor. A little bit of stealth work. Not really much that you can do in this situation. Maybe we can get in... a flick over to their POV, in all honesty, and it is Logic just kind of sitting over at this gallows gen. He doesn't really have much to do here though, Smong.
Yeah, he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He does have balance landing, which might allow him to maybe rotate over to a potential pickup, but at this point in time, it's looking like a 4K3, just due to unfortunate circumstances. We could maybe play for the hatch for some, you know, point differential, but the game is very much a big W for Hell of Flame here, and we have found Logic at the gallows, but he does have bounce landing available to him. He does fake the window, baiting the spirit successfully, which is great to see, but when he does drop bounce landing, he's going to mute us, so we are able to rotate over and get the pickup and go to his up, but we're going for the phase as well. Even if he does get this pickup, he's just going to have Slug and then go for either Logic or Nancy, whoever goes for first. Down Logic in a power. We do have Nancy up going towards main building, and we can just safely leave Logic there. We don't really care about him. And maybe vault the window and then go for a bit of a phase, but we do have Lithe here from Nancy, maybe able to let her go to the hook, but we have no phase bag, and this should just barely interrupt the hook. He might get the unhook here if we're lucky, but she's doubled back just a little bit, gone back to main towards one of these pallets, and it has bought her a bit of time, but I think it's all just for naught, which is a shame. But this, yeah, Wake from Hell just showing utter dominance on this set, which is a shame for Lumora. Just a lot of unfortunate circumstances, both on the survivor side of things and the killer side of things. It's just not really working out for anyone, which is just really a shame to see, but we are trying to play to the best of our ability here. Ada trying to rotate towards the shack, extend a little bit, maybe for some reason Unbreakable's in play. I don't think it is, though. I highly doubt it. But no, we're just going to be going for a little bit of a last minute chase here, Hunter.
Yeah, no, HoF too strong. Irish definitely still got it after a couple years out of action, in all honesty. And you love to see it if you're on the side of HoF, but going to be following up this last chase onto Flair. He's going to be running through the back bottom side of main, going down imminently. And that is going to solidify the 4K3. What a result. My God. In all honesty, it was just they were just outclassed. You can just kind of tell from how the survivors played this match as opposed to how the others played in the other match. The others playing very well around their hook stages, and these guys, I think, just played a little bit too aggressive towards their win condition. Unfortunately, the tunnel out was met a little bit too early as well, but nevertheless, that will be Hella Flame taking the match, the series rather, sorry, putting them at 3-0. Lumora going back to 2-1, so they definitely have some work to do to go back to the drawing board and kind of remap their game plan, because they definitely need to win the next match. You don't want to be tying up with another team, in all honesty. You want to be taking it away and, you know, going towards to the next part of the series, the tournament rather, sorry, my bad. But yeah, because there's only going to be able to be 4 teams that make it to the finals. So you have 2 from one group and 2 from the other group, the top 2. So it'll be pretty interesting to see who really goes forth into that. But these 2 can definitely still meet again. In the finals, they would just be meeting at the grand final. That would be if they obviously beat the respective teams that are in the finals at that point in time. But nevertheless, that is our only series for today. We don't have any others for you later on, or we didn't have any for you earlier at the very least, but we do have some tomorrow. They are pretty spaced out though, so if I do get my calendar up real quick, I can tell you what those matches are. Smog, do you have any final words before I tell everybody what series to look out for tomorrow?
Very well played from both teams. Very interesting plays from both. I think Lumora has a lot to learn from rewatching the VOD, analysing key mistakes they made both on the killer side of things and the survivor side of things. Definitely interesting Devour pick, paid off really heavily. Hanato definitely wasn't expecting. I think he was expecting to give a tag and maybe rotate main, but unfortunately just got rolled by Devour, and then early on when he got unhooked, he got hit right at the end of his 15-second BT. Which is a shame, but yeah, definitely a lot to learn from this match, and I'd say keep their head up because they're definitely one of the stronger teams in the group. So I'm keen to see how they evolve.
Indeed, indeed. Well, it's been a pleasure casting with you, Smonk, and tomorrow you'll be seeing Reactor vs Nyx at well, it's 5 p.m. for me, so 8 p.m. for the east side of Australia, and Ethereal vs Overact at 10 p.m. So they're pretty spaced out in between 2 hours each. So they'll probably just be we'll start the first match, end it, start again, start the second match, and that's essentially how that'll go. But stay tuned for those matches. We love you all. Take it easy. Enjoy your Friday night. Let it sink in. We'll see you tomorrow.